Now let's do parenting. This morning we have with us Mr. Femi Shofoluwe. He's a thoroughbred, passionate youth teacher with more than a decade hands-on experience. Now he's joined us today to discuss something very, very interesting, something that, hey, it's very, very important. Single parenting. Mr. Femi, you are welcome.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good to have you here. Single parents, they're in our society. We don't often pay too much attention to this, but it is a world of difference being a single parent and raising a kid. I can imagine where I feel my wife picks up, but in the case of one parent, how do they manage?
Single parenting is a phenomenon that we just have to come to terms with. It's growing by number due to several reasons. One of the major problems we have in Nigeria currently is the, what do we call it, mortality rate, especially for the male folks. They tend to die early, according to statistics, than the female folks, right? Okay. So single parenting, there are several reasons that, can bring about this. A partner can get job outside the city and have to travel. We have surrogacy, which is growing day by day, failed marriage and every other thing like that, child out of wedlock. One of the things that I believe a single parent have to know is that you are 100% responsible for the raising of your kid or your children, as the case may be. And you cannot allow any of the balls that you are jogging, because you have to hold the two ends very tightly. In this case of where you have two parents, where one fails, the other can easily pick up. But at this junction, you are the Alpha, you are the Omega, except God be with you. So you really have to pay more attention to both sides, and then whatever is not within your reach, please don't even bother going for it, so that you don't drop the important things, which is, raising your kid and making them successful.
Wow, that is very, very tough. Now, is there a notable impact or lack of impact in kids raised by single parents? Is there anything that you could tell that, oh, this person was raised by just one person, just
a lot of disadvantages come with, being raised by a single parent. But if you are wise and God help you as a parent, you can actually turn that to strength to, make the life of your children even better. I happen to be raised by my dad. My mom left when I was in primary 2 or thereabout. And that actually became a source of strength. It made me more responsible much earlier. I started cooking much earlier than even a lot of female folks.
Interesting.
So some of these things, if you know how to engage them, they're actually a benefit on the long run.
Okay, so speaking from experience, had this been the other way around, had it been that you were raised by a mother, what differences do you think would be noticeable?
I think I probably would be more, spoiled, as it were, because mother tends to really. My dad was a little bit hard on me. I became a member of a paramilitary organization at the age of, say, maybe 11 or 12, and I was in that for 10 years. So I didn't really have time to even do all these mushy things that children do with their mom, and I became very hard at early stage. That too has its own disadvantage. Being raised by a dad and joining the paramilitary much earlier at a very tender age. A lot of my physical physics were developed, but my mental capacity was very, very underdeveloped.
Which is funny that you should say this, because I was reading something one time where it said that fathers are actually responsible for the emotional upbringing of the child. So I'm wondering how exactly this pertains to the mothers as well. Now, if in your case, your father was more the guy who built you up to be, hard.
The hard time.
Then is it that the lack of your mother being there is what forced him to do or to be so toward you?
Just like we rightly started, being a single parent requires a lot. So you don't want any part of your parenting to be loose. So that tends to make you even hard on yourself, not just on your children.
I get you now.
You tend to shout, you tend to raise your voice every now and then, just to make sure your voice is heard and the message is passed across. There's nobody there to help you reiterate whatever it is you are saying. So you have to say it twice, or even more than more than twice, to make it solid.
You talking to me now, I can see my wife talking to my daughter, do this, and then I'm the one who actually says, all right, Rain, you have to make sure that you do that. So in the case where I'm absent, that wouldn't be, and that's.
So we have to repeat herself.
Wow, that's very interesting. So how can single parents create that balance?
All right, the first thing I would like to say in this area is that single parents take advantage of every available opportunities that you have around you. They say it takes a village to raise a child, and that applies whether it's single parent or double parent, the both parent at home. Take advantage of every available opportunity. If you belong to a religious group, let your children join age group if it is safe and you deem it fit. Like I said, I joined Manowar. Yeah, actually, that's the paramilitary organization I joined at a very tender age. If such is available around you as a single mother or as a single father, you can actually enroll your children and then monitor the progress to make sure they are not overdoing it. Every available time I was in paramilitary camp every now and then. I have a lot of certificates like that in my house, which don't really mean much to me today. And as a parent, because of time, I would like to say this. If you're a single parent, please find a way to pat yourself on the back. You are doing well. Because in the case of two parents at home, if you did well, your partner tends to reward you and appreciate you for that. Yeah. If you don't do that for yourself as a single parent, you are not doing well at all, because you need that to rebuild, to re-energize, and then, you know, to just encourage yourself and tell yourself you are doing well. I mean, if your children greet people when they meet them, that means you have done a good job. If your children allow other children to play with their toys, that means you are doing a good job. Then as a single parent, always be ready. If you go out to see your doctor, make sure you have something your children can play with so that they don't wander about. Attention span of children are very, very low. So you need to tighten out all those areas.
Now, this is very interesting because what you're saying now is not just focused on the children themselves, also on the individual who's raising that kid. Their mental status also is very, very important. For people out there now who are taking what you're saying, this template, does it apply to both, whether you're female or male, whether you're a father or a mother?
It applies to both, I believe.
It's just one template suits all?
Definitely.
And that's very interesting. Now, what about us outside looking in on a single-parent family? How can we apply ourselves? What do we need to do?
If you have a single parent around you, please encourage them. I tell you, they need every encouragement. See, once in a while, if you have a single parent around you, tell them to bring their children to your house. Let them go and have a nice time. If they have engagement, sometimes even children don't allow their parents engage with new relationships. So if you have single parents around you, let their children relate more with you, you know, so that they can find your place as a safe place that they can play while their mom or their dad is out trying to sort out their lives and get it back together.
Mr. Femi, it's always a pleasure to have you here, and this is very, very important. Thank you very much for joining us today, very timely, and discussing single parenting. And I'm hoping that you have out there taken some samples that you would be using as a single parent or one who knows a single parent. Very important as a community.